Guys, and this week's one, I'm not really looking forward to it. Manchester United just got humiliated by Liverpool on the weekend, but as per usual, we're here. We're going to talk about football. Me and Yusuf were just talking about this like 30 seconds ago. There's a lot of things to talk about. We're going to start with United and Liverpool, of course, but you also have Victor Osimhen, you have Lukaku, you have Mbappe, you have Chelsea, and how they went from looking amazing last week to again looking mediocre this season. You have
hmm
Declan Rice's red card. We've got a lot of things to talk about, but before we start, Yusuf, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm amazing. I'm hot. I told you, I'm hot. I have some things I have to get off my chest, so I'm
I
ready.
We're gonna start with Manchester United because that was the biggest game of the weekend of any league. It was like the biggest game in England, the biggest derby, the biggest rivalry, the two biggest clubs, and Manchester United just got humiliated. And yeah, I'll let you go first, Yusuf.
Okay. So let me start by asking you for my flowers.
Yeah,
Remember on the other show, JVM shows VD.
yeah,
Yao ate me up when I spoke about this manager.
okay,
You had everything to say, and when he gave you some small levels of success, it felt like your frustrations were justified.
yeah,
So with the Manchester United foes, I want to start on Ten Hag. And what I want to say about Ten Hag is, JVM, I have a simple question to ask you. If you are training players and you've been watching them for a whole month, in a way, don't you see capabilities and weaknesses and where two players can't match and two players can't gel and where two or three players in positions that are not working for both of them, or where tactically you have to really inform young players as to how to carry themselves on the pitch and everything? Isn't that the coach's job?
it is.
Why is constantly Kobe Mainu and Casemiro crashing in the same role on the same football pitch when there's a manager in the sideline?
Hmm.
Why is constantly Casemiro showing clearly signs of deformity, signs of him not performing to the standard of a Manchester United, but still being left in games and leaving to start games?
Because we have no one else.
Why did you have a whole off season
Yeah,
to rectify this problem of Casemiro, where you saw it clearly last season and did nothing to rectify it?
but that's why we went and got Ugarte. That's what Ugarte is meant to do. It's just he was a game late. Ugarte
He
was a
was a
game
game
late.
late. Why was the Ugat signing this late if
Yeah,
this was a clear problem you realized from last season?
yeah, it was bad.
Everything you say, I have something to say, actually. You understand me?
Yeah,
Ten Hag is a disappointment, and if Manchester United don't force for this man to be kicked out of the team wouldn't reach the levels the team is supposed to reach. You look at the current United squad on paper. Let's not talk tactics. Let's talk on paper. Let's compare this current United squad on paper to a lot of these EPL teams that United is supposed to compete with in these major tournaments. And let's see how they stack up. Because when you give this guy money to go into the market, he goes looking for Ayaz players and players he has coached before. If he doesn't do that, he keeps looking for project babies whom he can't control. He needs to fix his ego.
hmm,
You can't keep bringing projects where you know you have control over them over already made players who you know what you are getting from. Let's take, for example, Bruno Fernandes. He came as an already established player. Manchester United knew what they were getting from Bruno Fernandes. And what? Until date, he's one of the best players on the team, right?
hmm, yes.
Zexki is a project.
Unfortunately,
Last season, Hoyland is a project. You brought in Anthony, who didn't pan out well. You brought in Delete. Yeah, he's a good signing. But how many times are you going to do these trial logs with players that are subpar? The only player I can fully support is the Delete and the Ugarte signings because I feel like, okay, they have shown me enough to be what first 11 players for Manchester United. Most of the rest of the players you have signed have been project signings. You didn't sign Casemiro because you wanted De Jong. Casemiro was a last-minute replacement by the team, and it worked out a little for you. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
How do you let Jadon Sancho leave when you only have 3 wingers or 4 wingers to play this season? With all of these matches that you have to play, Ten Hag has to check his own ego. I thought you said everything was okay. I thought you said you spoke with the player and it's fine. So why is he leaving the team if it's fine? Are you lying to the media? Ten Hag has to check his own ego. Does it mean you can't work with Jadon Sancho after his performances from last season? Okay, let's compare Jadon Sancho's time in Dortmund to all of the other players you have on the squad right now. Rashford, he had a better time in Dortmund than Rashford had all season. Anthony, I don't even have to say it. Him sitting on the bench is better than Anthony playing. Garnacho was only one of the only players who showed some sparks last season. But looking at Garnacho, let's be real. Manchester United is so hollow. Players like Garnacho are getting first 11 starts. If we are going to be honest, a fully stacked Manchester United, Garnacho should be coming from the bench. Højlund, Zerski, all of these players are project babies. And then you let Sancho go? Ten Hag has to check his ego. You want to play this whole season with this forward line you have. Forward line that are not clicking. Forward line that are not playing together. Forward line that people are... Look, everybody has lost form up front. How are you going to compete? By leaving players to go. And he did nothing in the offseason that really shows that he's in this season for business. Ugarte, amazing signing. But trust me, if you tell me to drink dirty water and underneath there's clean water, I won't drink it. So you can use a band-aid to patch some part of the broken glass. But if you don't replace the whole glass, the water will still spill. That is what I have to say on the Ten Hag situation.
Okay.
And with Manchester United and the fans still backing this man after everything he has proved to you, coming into the team and attacking the biggest dog on the team, thinking this is going to gain you respect, but it rather lost you respect in the dressing room. It all goes back to Cristiano Ronaldo, and we told you people this when he did it to Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, you guys are seeing this guy has to check his ego. Now, you guys are seeing Ten Hag is a few signings away from destroying the team totally. I rest my case.
Okay, I'm glad this game happened because if you guys don't know, if you're not regulars here, me and Yusuf over the past few weeks we've been agreeing a lot, and for the most part we do agree a lot. But I think it makes for the best content when we don't agree, like now. First of all, it was a horrible game. It was a horrible game of football, and I'm not going to excuse anything that happened. And again, the Casemiro situation, you're right. The Ugarte deal should have been done earlier. It should have been done earlier because if Ugarte was in the team earlier, if he had been able to work with Kobbie Mainoo earlier and found a way to work with Kobbie Mainoo, our midfield wouldn't have been as weak and as exposed as it was on Sunday. But again, that problem with Ugarte has been addressed. That is why we signed Ugarte, and that is why, again, that's why I said Ugarte was one game late. But even then, I don't think Ugarte would have made the whole difference in that game. Although Casemiro did make 2 mistakes that led into the goal, Ugarte would make a difference. But the way that team played, that was a whole team shambles. I want to say De Ligt and Martinez were all right in the first half, but they were exposed by their midfield. Kobe Mainoo was losing the ball in critical situations. So was Casemiro. Garnacho and Rashford on the pitch at the same time was not working. I think should have started Garnacho and Ahmad. I think Rashford should have been on the bench. But that aside, so these problems have been addressed. So Ugarte has come into the team, and Casemiro is being replaced. Is being replaced now, and in the long term he will be replaced because we were very unlucky to not be able to sell him this summer. The other thing you said, I feel like this is coming again. As you were speaking, I thought about this, but then at the end you confirmed it. You're still thinking about the Ronaldo situation. And it's like, I understand why you still think about that situation, but yet again, I will still back Ten Hag in that situation because you cannot have a player just trying to outright disrespect you and put his foot down in your dressing room. You're the manager, and you have to show everyone that you're the manager, and you're the one that has the dressing room. Excuse me. So even in that situation, I still agreed with Ronaldo leaving the team, and Ronaldo did not fit the way they were playing. So as you were saying, because I know you, Yusuf, and I know how much you like Ronaldo, this feeling you have towards Ten Hag, this is from time. So this is from time. I know you really don't like Ten Hag, but what I'm asking you here is to look at this game as an isolated incident. Because I promise you, we will not be playing like this as the season continues. Again, we can spend here the whole time criticizing how they played, but at the end, we're just going to come to the verdict that they played bad. Every single fan and every single pundit that I've seen that supports United has said the same thing. We played bad. It was a horrible game. There's no excuses for that game. But let's not try and throw the season away. Let's not try and say Ten Hag's going to be the first manager to get sacked, because that is not going to happen. This is a very well-oiled Liverpool team that managed to get the best out of us because of mistakes we made. That is not going to happen again. And again, with Casemiro, Ugarte is going to come into this team. I'm not saying Ten Hag is at fault, but I'm saying that game was an isolated incident. And if it's not, and we keep losing, then fair enough, I'll admit it. But for me, this game is an isolated incident that happened. Even in the game last round against Brighton, we should have won that game. We were very unlucky to not win that game, and that Zexi goal should have stayed in that, and then we would have been 2-1 up going into half-time. So, in my opinion, that's an isolated incident, and we're going to keep going from strength to strength. Now, these problems need to be addressed, and the number one problem in that game was Casemiro, and we already have a replacement ready for Casemiro on the bench.
I feel like I'm trying to tell you, sometimes every problem has its genesis. Yeah. I know. When we go back to the Ronaldo situation, at the end, it felt like, he needed to put his foot down, right? Yeah. But JVM, you are forgetting the beginning of the problem, where a coach comes into a team, and before he actually analyzes anything, the first thing he does is attack last season's top scorer. Why do you tell me in my face? Why do you tell me in my face you need me, but then go back and say what? You don't really need me.
He didn't attack him. And again, even in that situation,
we agree to disagree.
Even when we go back to that situation, I still believe Ronaldo should have left Europe straight away from a football standpoint, because Ronaldo could have easily gone to another team in Europe and still performed. Even in the EPL, Ronaldo could have easily performed. I say that was the best move for his career at the time because of the amount of, because it's Ronaldo. The amount of scrutiny he was getting. Ronaldo is the biggest name in football. He's the biggest brand in sports in general. There's not another athlete. I don't care if you're talking about F1, UFC, basketball. There's not another brand as big as Ronaldo in football.
Yeah.
So if he was going to stay in Europe, he was always going to get criticized and compared to his old self.
Facts.
However, when we're talking about Manchester United and the way we were playing, mind you, that season when we got rid of Ronaldo, we finished third. We got Champions League football, and we managed to win the Carabao Cup. So it's not like we lost Ronaldo and we became a horrible team. We became a horrible team the season after, when we had all these injuries, and especially our back line was completely destroyed. Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Varane, all gone. Our three players at the back, all gone. Casemiro had a dip in form. Rashford had a dip in form. So all of these things happened. It's like there's an explanation to why these things were happening. These things didn't just happen out of nowhere. It wasn't like Ten Hag just forgot how to coach. But again, this is what I say, it's the first 3 games of the season. Let's not lose our heads. I'm not going to lose my head over the first 3 games of the season. There's too many fans out there that are too reactionary. I am not going to lose my head over the first 3 games of the season.
Okay.
I'm not.
My head is already lost because I don't believe in this manager.
Okay. And again, if Ten Hag underperforms, I will be here to criticize him. It's the
Okay.
first 3 games of the season. In a similar note, I just want to big up, not big up, but I want to give Liverpool their flowers because Liverpool played amazing football. They've been playing amazing
Mm-hmm.
football all throughout the first 3 games of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They've not conceded a single goal in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Their team looks very well oiled. Unlike
Mm-hmm.
United, every part is working well. It looks like the
Mm-hmm.
players are all behind the manager, and yeah, so I honestly towards Liverpool, more problems for Arsenal and United. For United because you're going to see your rivals
Mm-hmm.
performing at the highest level again, and for Arsenal because not only are you going to have to contend with City, you're also going to have to contend with Liverpool now. So again,
Yeah.
it's going to be a very interesting title fight.
Yeah.
And
I
mind
feel you on that.
And mind you, let's not forget that not last year, a few months ago in the FA Cup, Liverpool
Mm-hmm.
were winning against us, and then we managed to beat them in a comeback
Yeah.
in a game that really really matters. So I'm not going to lose my head over us losing 3-0 against Liverpool. It was not a good performance. It was embarrassing, but it's the third game of the season. No one's going to lose their heads over the third game of the season, and there are fans out there that are
Okay.
losing their heads. And to those fans, I'll tell you, if you've been watching football for long enough, like I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys out there that are much older than me. I've been watching football for over a decade. These things happen. We lost
They
against
are
our biggest
losing their
rivals.
heads because of the disbelief in this your manager. You understand me? They are not doing it because they want to do it. Sometimes, like there's reasons for people losing their heads. Other manager, Ancelotti was drawing games and nobody was scared because of what he has shown. There's a reason why the fans are losing their heads. It is because of what this man has shown. You understand me?
Okay. So what has Ten Hag shown? Ten Hag has shown that he's a manager capable of winning Eredivisie 3 times in a row. He's a manager that is capable of taking a young Ajax team to the Champions League semi-final. He's a manager that's shown
Mm-hmm.
in his first season in the Premier League with a
Mm-hmm.
mediocre Manchester team, he was able to finish third and win a trophy. The next season, when his team was in complete shambles, he was still able to win the
Mm-hmm.
Carabao Cup and got European football, finishing eighth.
Okay. If this is enough for you as a Manchester fan, if this accomplishment he has done
It's
in
not.
this time that he has with Manchester United,
Oh
with the
my
money
god.
he has been provided, no, if this is enough for you, because you listed some Ajax stats, yeah, that is what got him the job. But after you get the job, list me the Manchester United
And
stats.
I
And you
mentioned the
did that.
stuff. I did, yeah.
And when you did that, I'm asking you if this is enough for this years, and why was he being listed as one of the managers to be sacked just this end of last season? If Manchester United got a manager, he would be out of the door. If some of the managers that Manchester United actually really wanted took the job, Ten Hag wouldn't have a job now. So if as a Manchester United fan, you are telling me this is enough for you to keep Ten Hag as a manager, I rest my case. I hold my team in higher regards.
Fair enough. And let me just give you the other comparison. When Arteta first started for Arsenal, and
Mm-hmm.
this is why I tell you this is why I praise Arsenal because of the patience they had with Arteta and they realized what it takes
Mm-hmm.
to build a team.
Mm-hmm.
Ten Hag, if you compare the first 2 seasons of the first 2 years and a bit of Arteta and Ten Hag's first two
Mm-hmm.
years and a bit, Ten Hag is far more successful than Arteta, far more.
Mm-hmm.
And Arsenal fans were calling for Arteta's head. But guess what?
Mm-hmm.
After that, Arteta was able to build the team that he wanted. He was able to get the players playing like he wanted, and they managed to go on to be a very competitive team in the Premier League that almost beat City
Mm-hmm.
twice, and that went on
Yeah.
to get Champions League football after a long time. And now you compare that to
Mm-hmm.
Ten Hag's first 2 years, where he's able to win 2 trophies and get Champions League football and get European football, finishing eighth. What other team in the Premier League has ever done that? I'm I'm not saying these are aspirations, but I'm saying this is a process. This is going to take time. And when you compare it to other processes, like for example Arsenal, who have been successful, who everyone will say Arsenal are going to be competitive this year, like Ten Hag is doing much better than what Arteta was doing at the same time.
Trust me, I wanted
Much
Arteta
better.
out. Trust me, I wanted Arteta out, and I told you this last season.
Yeah.
If at the end of this season Arteta isn't able to bring back any silverware, I don't care about you coming second and almost beating City. The second place is the first person to be forgotten. You understand me?
Yeah.
We only deal in first positions here. So I don't care about you almost beating City. I only care about you actually beating City. And if this season, regardless of how much time they gave him, regardless of how much patience Arsenal fans got, if this shambolic performance of Ten Hag has been able to get him silverware, I don't care about you coming second to City. His head will also be on the line if he doesn't end this season with silverware. And that is the gospel truth.
Yeah, and let's not forget how Arsenal finished eighth in back-to-back seasons, and everyone wanted Arteta gone. Ten Hag finished eighth. When Ten Hag finished eighth, he won the FA Cup and got Europa League football. When Arteta finished eighth, he finished eighth, and that was it because they were dead. And this is Ten Hag again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget the fact that the amount of injuries Ten Hag had last year. Now, I believe he made a serious mistake against Brighton when he started Maguire and he kept Garnacho on the bench. And I think he made another mistake against Liverpool, for example, when he didn't have Ahmad on the team because of how well Ahmad's been playing. I think those are two mistakes that you can point to. But still, compared to where Arteta was, this is 1,000 times better. And again, this is a process. It takes time. This is not a sprint. This is a 38-game season. 33 games gone. There's 35 games left. Please, I'm not going to lose my head. Please, if it continues, I will. But in the first 3 games, you will not see me losing my head. I won't do that.
All right.
Okay, moving on to, how can you say, lighter topics or a happier topic. Mbappe scored his first goal for Real Madrid this past weekend against Real Betis, and it's about time, really. It's about time. I liked both goals. I liked how both goals came about. I liked the fact that the first goal was an amazing team play, and Valverde, the best pass I've seen so far this season, amazing from Valverde. And the second pass, amazing moment in team chemistry and just two players trying to uplift each other. And as we said, if these guys are able to make it work, then it will be scary. So it's very nice to see Vinny giving away his penalty to Mbappe.
What I have to say is to all of the haters, you see, when this thing came about, they only spoke about Vinny's ego, Mbappe's ego, would Jude Bellingham and Mbappe work, and all of the negatives. And we kept telling them, yo, once you address the negative, find the time to talk about some of the positives. Because if these young kids are able to make it work, this is going to be one of the most deadliest front lines in football. And from the beginning of the season, what did I keep saying? They are trying to figure it out. So much so that it's a detriment to some of their games because they are trying to be so selfless. And sometimes you trying to be so selfless makes you miss an opportunity you should be taking on your own. You get me? So the total breakdown of this is, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to mark it, and everybody should mark it, Kylian Mbappe is going to end this season with 40 plus goals. This is the beginning of a lot more to come. Trust me, Real Madrid has the infrastructure, has the structure, has the players and everything to make this happen for Kylian Mbappe. All he needed to do was break that ice. You guys are going to put respect on Kylian Mbappe's name this season. This is going to be one of his most prolific seasons because even the likes of Vinny are giving him penalties. You can see the team chemistry. You can see the joy when he scored his first goal. You can see the love they share. Mark it somewhere. Kylian Mbappe is going to end this season as the top scorer in all of Europe's competitions.
This kind of brings me back to, I don't know if you've heard this, but Ronaldo had this famous saying where he was talking about ketchup and he was like, goals are like a bottle of ketchup. Once you get it going, it just keeps spilling out, and it's like I hope
Mm-hmm.
again for Mbappe's sake that's what happens, because again for my expectation for Mbappe is for him to finish his tenure at Real Madrid as a top four scorer of all time. He needs to be up there with the
Mm-hmm.
likes, or at least he can be up there in
Mm-hmm.
terms of talent with the likes of Benzema, Ronaldo, and Raul.
Yeah.
And yeah, just in that game, dominant performance from Real Madrid. Um, not they didn't have like the best start. It was kind of hard to break up Real Betis. So in that sense,
As you said, it's a sprint, not a marathon. You
yeah,
get me? Last season, we began the season. Yeah, as you said, last season, we began the season very poorly. Remember when we were finding it difficult to even comprehend the 4-4-2 formation?
yeah,
Remember Vinny and Rodrigo not understanding how to play with each other in the 4-4-2 formation? Remember Bellingham being the saving grace,
yeah,
winning matches by one goal coming from a late equalizer or a late winner by Bellingham.
yeah.
But we ended the season with what? An extraordinary array of trophies. No one expected us to end this season, last season, winning the Champions League. You get me? So yeah, it's a sprint
You know,
or it's a marathon, not a sprint.
yeah.
So yeah, Barcelona might have kicked the ball running very well. And I'm really proud of them for how much they have spent and all of the crisis going on.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, allow us to just get to the middle of the season when the going gets tough. We'll see who got the juice.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, again, great for Mbappe. Even better for Real Madrid and Barcelona playing amazing football. But another topic is
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to talk about, it was Victor Osimhen and what's going on in Napoli,
Yeah,
because I don't even know if
okay.
he's gonna be able to play football this season.
He is going to be able to play football because a deal has already been agreed with Galatasaray.
Hmm.
Is it Galatasaray or Fenerbahce? Galatasaray, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so let me break it down. Let me break it down. One of the toppest or one of the best strikers in world football
Yeah.
was on the verge of sitting out the whole season because of dumb management. And I say this a lot of time about African players. Management teams have to start doing things that is best for the player and not what is best for their pockets. This Victor Osimhen not wanting to stay in Napoli started from last season.
Yeah.
So this management team should have been able to struck a deal or made something happen way before transfer deadline. Chelsea was interested. I had Manchester United's name. I had a few teams in Europe's name. But the most interested team was Chelsea. You guys went and you were throwing insane wages to Chelsea, a team that is trying to even reduce their wage bills. And they were still on the table discussing with you guys.
Yeah.
So the first L goes to Victor Osimhen's management. The second L, or the biggest L, goes to Napoli because a player you have valued at 120 million is now on loan for only 10 million to Galatasaray. You lost 110 out of your own evaluations, and you think it makes sense because Chelsea was on the table with you guys, and you guys didn't want to budge from the 120 million. Other teams were on the table with you guys, and you guys didn't want to budge from the 120 million, knowing very well this kid doesn't want to stay in the team, knowing very well this is going to bring some form of misunderstanding in the team,
Yeah.
animosity in the team. And guess what did you do? A player that helped you win your first Serie A title after 30 years of not being a non-factor in the Serie A. This is how you treat the person. You bring in Lukaku and try giving Lukaku his number when he's still on the team. Relegate him to what? Not even the second team. Not even the bench. Relegate him to out of the team. To the coach saying he doesn't want anything to do with the player. Only because the player voiced it out to you guys he wants to leave. I don't see this happening to a white player. That same situation. After you guys created the animosity by social media postings and what team behavior and what fans behaviors, you didn't make him feel at home, even though he brought you that trophy. So the biggest L is Napoli for losing 110 million instead of sitting on the table to negotiate with teams when you know the player wouldn't leave. Now he's going to apply his trade next season in Galatasaray. They received him well. For only 10 million, they are getting a steal. And I know it's a loan deal, so by next season, he'll be looking for another place to go. And I'm going to say congratulations on Chelsea for pulling out when they pulled out, because if the deal doesn't make sense to you, you don't have to force it. And we know Chelsea isn't the one to be making good decisions when it comes to transfer. So at least this one, they're able to do good. And the second shout out goes to Lukaku for rejecting the number 9 jersey out of respect for his what? Black brother. This is what we have to do for ourselves sometimes, to show the teams it is not only about us, it's about the unification of what? This black skin.
Yeah, and on Osimhen, I just want to say he wanted to leave, anyways. Like last summer after they won, I don't think he wanted to leave straight away, but he was definitely looking for a move to a bigger team. But again, things were just made worse after that post on TikTok, which was very silly, really. It's like how do you let someone manage your TikTok and make a post like that and green like the fact that he can just do that? So of course, everyone looking at it for you know what, Osimhen does have a reason to leave, and the biggest embarrassing thing for Napoli is, as you said, they hadn't won anything for ages. Napoli hadn't won anything for ages, and yet they were so quick to disrespect their best player, the best player on that team, someone who went for 30 goals that season. A player like that doesn't come through the door all the time, especially when, and you made the mistake last year. Maybe you can sort something out of the player, but no, there's no effort from Napoli's side, at least we don't know of them trying to rectify things, especially when you consider the horrible season that Napoli had.
Facts.
It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I told you guys I'm on one, I'm on one today, so let's keep going.
After analyzing the main topics that have been going on in world football, I just want to get back to the Premier League, and let's just look at the state of things. So far, the only teams to have won all their games are Liverpool and City. People were talking about Arsenal title charge. Arsenal already 2 points behind. Off the get-go. Again, let's not overreact, but Arsenal are already 2 points behind. And Liverpool and City look very, very strong. And again, with Liverpool, they've not conceded a single goal. They are the only team in the whole league to still be yet to concede a goal. And with the way that defense is playing, and with them having Alisson at the back, it's going to be very hard to see them concede any goals. But yes, going back to Arsenal, during 1-1 against Brighton, hard game at home, and I feel like this goes back to what we were talking about Arsenal. Something I've kind of tried to elaborate more. I made a video today that's going to be coming out on a few days, but it's Arsenal, in my opinion, not having that X factor, not having a Salah, not having a De Bruyne or a Haaland, a player that can go, that can just turn it up and score a goal in games like this.
Take over the game.
Yeah, and I made a video today that was talking about Saka, and the question I want to put to you is, can Saka become one of those players? Can Saka become one of those, not Ronaldo or Bale, but can Saka, for example, score 20 goals this season? Can he have that?
Something similar.
Yeah, can he have that type of a session where Saka is the main man, the go-to guy that Arsenal go to for goals? Because we know Gabriel Jesus won't beat that. We know Gabriel Jesus is not the guy, or at least he hasn't shown for the last few years to be the guy that they can go for. They've not sent a striker. Ivan Toney, he went to Saudi Arabia, which I think is a joke for a lot of these Premier League teams. I think it is a massive L. Yeah. It's an L for Arsenal. It's an L for Chelsea. It's an L for United. It's an L for Tottenham as well. So yeah, do you think Saka can become that player for Arsenal?
I think Saka has a long way to go to being that player because I don't think he has fully understood his capabilities yet. I think Saka is still at the point that he's enjoying being out there every day too much that he has forgotten that there's a legacy to chase. I sometimes see the way he plays and it's like, yo, he's playing free flowing football. He's enjoying the game, but sometimes, you need to like play like you are mad, play like you have a point to prove, And once you adapt that character, and mind you, Vinicius Jr. used to be the player who's laughing all over the pitch, even if he misses a chance, he's laughing.
Yeah.
Once he switched that
Mentality.
to the arrogant and the noise-making Vinny, he's on the way to a Ballon d'Or. Because at this point, he's playing for something. At this point, he's angry that the team is losing. At this point, he knows if I don't come through, there's no Benzema to save me. If I don't come through, there's no Cristiano to save the team. I have to do the saving. Once that mindset switched, he became this caliber of player. Saka needs that mindset switch. He has all that it takes. The capabilities, the talent, the movement. He has everything. And every Premier League defender that comes against Saka speaks about his quickness, speaks about his quality. So he has it. He's left with that mindset switch. He's left with that 5, 6, 7 matches consistent goal scoring form that puts everybody on edge. And I think he lacks that. You get me? He can, but he lacks it. So your analysis is very perfect. Arsenal still needs that type of player. But I don't think they are going to get it from Saka until he has that mindset switch. The other thing I want to talk about is, if something is broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If something is broke, don't fix it. Starting Martinelli and having Trossard come from the bench has worked for how many games now? Maybe Martinelli hasn't started the season in the greatest of forms, but I don't think starting Trossard also tops Martinelli starting, because Trossard was a shadow of himself, and I can count how many moments in that game he was even impactful. Yeah. So I think if Trossard is going to be that burst of energy from the bench, it is okay to continue starting him from the bench. He will start in some matches, but matches that you need to win, you are coming in with that burst of energy that always gives you the goals. The other thing is my Ghanaian brother, Thomas Partey, seems to has lost some form.
Yeah.
His touch, form, concentration. I don't know what was going through his mind in some of these matches and stuff like that. But if we are going to be honest, Partey, you are too technically disciplined or too technically brilliant to be losing focus in mid-game and losing your touch and losing control in some occasions, like you've lost a step and all of those things. No. Once the problem is in an injury and you are fully fit and you're on the pitch, I expect some level of professionalism because you're one of the senior players on the squad. But in that game, he didn't show it.
I was gonna say, so for you, for Saka is mainly a problem of mentality and not ability, because I feel like in terms of ability, it's like he can do it. He already, like, for example, last 2 years, he scored. He's had 25 goal contributions in back-to-back seasons. So I think it was 14 and 11 in 23-22, and it was 18 and 9 or 16 and 9 last year in 23-24. Yeah. So it's like he has the ability. It's just the consistency throughout the season to do that, and I feel like that comes from a mentality standpoint for sure. And the other frauds of the round were Chelsea. Last game they dismantled Wolves. They made a joke of Wolves, and then this time they had Crystal Palace at home, and Crystal Palace kind of humbled them, especially considering the fact that Chelsea started the game off winning. Nicholas Jackson scored again, but then after Eze equalized, Chelsea just didn't really have an answer for them. 7 shots.
Chelsea.
7 shots on target and only 1 goal.
Chelsea I had an analogy for Chelsea. Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, Chelsea is one of those teams. Yeah, JVM, just think about it. You see, one of those situations that can go so well or go so bad.
Yeah.
Chelsea. If you look at their squad on paper,
It's
if
very
they are
good.
able to put this together, they have one of the youngest talents in every single position in the team right now. Probably the strikers role. They have Nkunku coming from the bench.
And Felix coming off the
Too
bench.
much quality.
They've got Enzo Fernandez and Casado as their midfield pivot.
At their midfield
If
pairings.
if
Two
if
years ago,
imagine if
mhm,
City had Casado and Fernandez.
different story. That is what I'm telling you. It's something that could go so good or go so bad. But for 2 seasons now, it's on the bad side of things.
Yeah.
All they need to, as players, is to what? Find their focus again. All they need to do as players is play for each other. Madueke, in the game, he scored a hat trick. João Felix had an amazing chance. The goal João Felix scored.
Yeah.
Damit had clear sight on goal, hit the shot, and before it even entered the goal, Madueke was angry at him for playing the shot, even though you already have your hat trick, and he scored. Then you join the celebrations. You already have 3 goals. He just got in. Aim, support each other, play for each other, act like you even like each other. You understand me?
Yeah.
Create that energy, create that amazing friendship that people in other teams have or youngsters in other teams have. And trust me, it is going to fix all of these problems. Chelsea shouldn't have lost that game. They lost concentration very early and never regained the concentration until the end of the game.
Because as I was saying last week, it's like at least on paper, Chelsea do have a chance to finish within the top four. I feel like Arsenal, City,
Mm-hmm,
and Arsenal are locks for that top four. We're gonna see
mm-hmm,
How Newcastle and Aston Villa fare, but it's
mm-hmm.
out between Chelsea, United, and Tottenham. Chelsea have a chance, or at least a fighting chance, to get into that top four.
Facts.
Playing like this and dropping points like this at this early stage of the season when you're winning, again, let's give our flowers to Crystal Palace because they're able to
Mm-hmm,
hold off a team like Chelsea with the firing power they have and the
mm-hmm.
amount of money they spent. But again, as they scored or he equalized on the 53rd minute, so
Facts.
it's like you have at least another half an hour to try and change the game, and you didn't do anything, or didn't do enough to make that happen. They had
Mm-hmm.
13 shots, 7 of those shots on target. It's disappointing to say the least.
Very disappointing.
Okay, are there any other topics you'd like to talk about, Yusuf?
Um, I wanted us to address some of the call-ups to the national teams. I
Oh,
wanted to address a few call-ups to the national teams, and if we have the time to address it.
yeah, we have time. They just the it's like 3 games in, and they like cut away the momentum straight away. They break away the momentum, and I feel like for United it's quite good. But for example, for a team like Liverpool or City, they're on a roll. You don't want your players to go
Mm-hmm.
on international duty. You want to keep going and building this momentum. I don't think that's good.
Facts.
I don't think that's good. But yeah, go on.
International breaks sometimes always come at the wrong time. And
It's just
I've
too
been
early.
watching some discords. I've been watching some discords on, all of your favorite platforms, and I just wanted to commend the New England manager for the direction he's going with the team.
Yeah,
I see he's going with youth, something we've always advocated for England. I see he's going at a different direction as the other manager. We need to watch his team play for us to see if tactically he would be doing the same thing. You know, the French squad, finally, Olise has been called one of the most striking players, young players we have in football.
hmm
finally he has been called. So those Olise fans that were in all of the discourse talking about the fact that he needed to be called has been called. And let me talk about my beloved country, Ghana. Our manager finally did something right with player collapse. We have a few players who rejected coming back into the squad because they were kind of harassed. Baba Rahman was harassed during his dip in form when he was underperforming in Chelsea and still being called to the national team. His dip in form led Ghanaians to like really bashing him and everything. So people who don't understand the preambles to the reason why Baba Rahman, after his form last season and the beginning of this season, rejected the call up was because of the things, including threats to his family when he was underperforming. So now that he's back in form, this call up, he told the manager, yo, I'm not ready to come back to the squad. So the people trying to chastise him and bash him and all of those things, this is his reasoning behind not coming back. You get me? And all of the other call-ups, all of the other players, before we criticize, before we judge, before we what, ask the reason why our favorite old players are not in the squad, let's allow the manager to cook. He just got the job. Everything just started fresh for him. If he needs fresh legs, if he needs fresh faces in the squad, let him bring the squad or the players that best fits his style of play. That way, when the things go left, we would have genuine points to pick. But if a manager comes and Ghanaians are trying to be what, internet coaches, everybody has different tactics and everybody has players they want called up. Trust me, we are a country of how many million people? He can't save everybody. So let's see how the players fail. You know, we have all of the old names like the Pates already coming back into the squad, the Kudusis and finally Ashimiro is healthy enough to come back to the squad. So let's just see the way they play and let's just back the squad.
Yeah,
So that is a few things I wanted to talk.
Yeah, continuing on the topic for a second, it's like I was just thinking about it. This year, it's kind of off international football, but this year we're gonna have the teams World Cup. It's going to be like a World Cup tournament, but with football teams from all over the world. And yeah, so this summer is going to be very interesting. Again, I think it's a joke. I think the players should have had this rest. I feel like it's a summer where you don't have international football. I feel like you let the players rest up a little bit, but again, money needs to be made, I guess.
Yeah, they would always find a way to make money off of these players' backs.
Yeah. Is there anything?
They would always find a way.
Is there anything you want to talk about regarding shorts? You said you had something up, or was I mistaken?
Yeah, no, with the shorts, I just had like a few random topics I just wanted to hit you with and see what are your thoughts on them. You get me? A few random things, some about Manchester United, some about football in general. So if you are ready, I want to just hit you with just a few things, One, I wanted to run like some form of like a comparison, We spoke about Ten Hag, we spoke about his I spoke about some of the players he has signed and how I feel like the Manchester United team isn't up to standard, right? So as a Manchester United fan, right now, if you are given an unlimited budget as a Manchester United fan, if you are given an unlimited budget right now to sign 3 players from any team in world football at any position right now, which 3 players are you going to sign to change the fortunes of Manchester United right now?
I feel like I need to start with a striker. And for example, the player that we were talking about before, I feel like I bring Osimhen into this team. I feel like Osimhen is impactful on this team from day one. Who else would I bring? I feel like I would also bring in a left back if I could, and if I have an unlimited budget, I'm gonna bring in Alphonso Davies. I feel like we desperately need a left back, and
like that.
The other option would be, because I still feel like we need a winger that is more informed, a winger that is not scared to pull his teeth out. I feel like my other player would be Kvaratskhelia. I'll take both players from Napoli. I'll take Kvaratskhelia on the left. I'll put Osimhen up front, and I'll bring in Alphonso Davies to play as my left back. And I feel like that way, that United team is looking a lot stronger.
I'm asking you, why not Haaland when you have an unlimited budget? Why not Haaland? Why not?
I just have a problem with signing players from rival teams. And I feel like
Uh,
Osimhen's upside is
mhm.
just that high. To be fair, when you said that,
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about rival teams at all. But yeah, I would still sign
Hmm.
Osimhen. I feel like he solves our goal scoring problem in a way, and then I would also bring in Kvaratskhelia to play on the left, and I'll bring in a left back and Alfonso Davis. I think that team, those three changes make this team a lot better. How about you? If you had to bring three players to Real Madrid with an unlimited budget, who would you bring?
As it currently stands, my team looks fully stacked. So everything that I'm saying now are players that I like, that I would want to see in the squad.
Yeah.
You understand me? These are players that I like I personally watch them and I enjoy them play, that I would want to see in the squad. So one of the players that I like and I enjoy watching play is Jamal Musiala.
Mhm.
I feel like we losing Cruz, we have kind of lost some level of creativity and passing on the squad. We have put in that responsibility on a Freddy Valverde, who isn't up there when it comes to passing like a Cruz. The work rate is there. He's doing all of the other things that he's already doing or used to doing, but we are kind of lacking that Cruz touch, that Cruz passing. And I feel like a Musiala could bring that to the squad. The other thing I'd want to do is I don't enjoy at all. I don't enjoy um what is his name? Our center back, the Brazilian.
Militao.
I don't enjoy Militao. Honestly, I feel like Militao is one of the weakest links on the team. This is me being totally honest with you. Militao is one of the weakest links on the team. I've said this about Militao. He's so erratic. He does things without thinking. He's sometimes out of position. He needs to understand the role of a five and the role of a four. If you are in the four role, you know what to do, not to affect your five. He needs to understand when you need to what come back and cover your two or three, and when not to what cover your two or three. So I would what go for a center back right now. So let me ask you, which center back in world football right now do you feel like works well in this Real Madrid squad? I have one name in mind, but I want to see what you're thinking.
With Rudiger.
With Rudiger, young preferably, so he can grow with the team.
Young, preferably.
That is already doing work.
I'd go to your rivals. I'll get Rahul.
Wow, I didn't think about that. That's a good shout. That is actually a good shout. That is like wow. That is actually a good shout.
Yeah, I feel like
He's kind of.
Rudiger and Rahul. That
Mhm.
physicality on that team. There's not many players getting past that.
That is going to be crazy. But one center back I was also looking at is what is this city's center back's name?
Gvardio.
Guardio,
Gvardio. Yeah.
Gavardio, Gavardio. I like how versatile he is, and one of the things I always praise him for is his positional awareness.
Yeah. He was meant to.
So
He was
if I
coming to
have a
you.
Rudiger,
He was meant to come to Real
hmm
Madrid.
hmm so if I have a Rudiger, who sometimes is a hot head,
Yeah.
but I have a player calm and collected player like Guardiola, I feel like it's going to be an amazing partnership. And the other thing is, the other side of the page that I'm going to address is going to be my fullback role. Honestly, I feel like we don't have, like right now, I feel like our left back isn't as sharp as it's supposed to be. So in world football now, which left back would I go for to left back, left back? Which left back are you thinking about now that can like really help Real Madrid?
I still think Alfonso Davis is the one to go for. I feel like Davis. It's hard. It's hard to name another left back ahead of Davis. Another one would be Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's too
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic to get Robertson out
Mm-hmm.
of that team. But yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It has to be Alfonso Davis.
Then I'll go with Alfonso. So those are the three players that I might want to add into the squad.
Yep.
Musiala is purely because I enjoy him play, and I feel like he's going to fit in seemingly into a squad like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's that, guys. Thank you very much for watching to the end, guys. You're much appreciated. We appreciate you guys sticking up. Frederick, you are a legend. Every time here, I saw your comment the other day about you not coming on the show, bro. Honestly, it's fine. You're always here. We appreciate you, Frederick. And yeah, episode 11. I've told you guys this before. We're gonna this show is gonna carry on into episode 100 at the bare. That's like the bare minimum. So yeah, we'll see you guys again next week. Any final words, Yusuf?
Let me leave you guys with this one. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Forgive yourself and focus on your future. Mel Robinson. Peace.
We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon. One. And that's two. Thank you, Yusuf.